Hello. Yep, not good news as usual, just following the trend really, isn't it? But the UK has had its biggest daily increase in COVID-19 cases and another death, so that brings us to 2 deaths, and I think it's 140 odd cases. Let me check and see what the number currently is. I've got a tracker below. There's a couple of different ones you can use. There's another one I've not got linked that when I find a link again, I definitely need to use in the description because it's quite good. Coronavirus live. Let me just do that and see. World O meters. This is the one. Let me post this in the chat. This one always seems to be quite up to date as well. But yeah, panic buying has officially started in the UK because they're talking about it a lot on the radio and the news, which again we all predicted would happen. It's been happening elsewhere. But right, Alexander. All right, Mike. Good evening to everybody coming on. But yeah, there's things within the UK. Toilet paper aisles completely run out. Sanitizer is completely sold out everywhere. You know, all that sort of stuff is selling out. If you're trying to buy masks online, apparently, the government is requisitioning the supply of them. So yeah, we were sort of talking about that yesterday, but apparently the government does not want you having masks. But yeah, so as we were all saying like a week or two ago, you really needed to have been buying the stuff in advance because once everybody catches wind of it, there's no, amount of it left. Right. Don't know if I've got many Chilean viewers or Chilean viewers. So hello, XOXO, Garcia. Yeah. But it's very tempting, isn't it, Mike, to say, I told you so, because I think literally everything everybody's been saying at the moment about this has been right every time, at least, on our sort of side of YouTube. But again, it was quite predictable just through mathematics. If you have a high R naught and everything like that, high death rate, high infection rate, we knew it would get bad. But people going, oh no, it's fine, it's just the flu. And then the other day, the World Health Organization said, oh, it's like 30 times deadlier than the flu or something and a lot more infectious, but don't worry too much about it. But yeah, there we go. So, yeah, well, the thing is, I think this is what we've all been seeing, is it's much better for governments to be proactive rather than reactive at this point, as in start doing things before they happen rather than saying, let's react to something that's happened, because once you're reacting to something that's happened with a deadly virus, it's already too late, isn't it? But yeah, according to this tracker, let's have a read through the cases. China, 80,000. I'm just going to round them to the closest 1,000. South Korea, 6,000. That's close to 7,000 technically. Iran, 5,000. Italy, 5,000. Germany, 700. France, 653. Japan, 420. Spain, 400. USA 259, UK 164, Switzerland 214. Switzerland was very low as of a week ago as well, and now Switzerland's jumped right up. Israeli M15s are very good masks. I'm pretty sure there's one behind me somewhere. Also, ammunition tins. Before I just get too sidetracked, ammunition tins are absolutely brilliant for storage. I've been using 30 cal and 7.62 tins for quite a while. But I recently bought a 40mm grenade tin, and my god, is it good for storing stuff. If you want to see it, look, it's over there. See that 40mm case? Fits perfectly on top of the piano. I've got loads of stuff stored in there now. So yeah, ammunition tins are very good for storage. Completely unrelated to the stream, just if anybody was thinking about getting boxes to store stuff. These plastic tubs are way more expensive in comparison to getting just good steel or, aluminium tubs. Yeah, we've had lots of that where there's people in the media saying, oh, don't cancel your holiday, even though you don't know if your holiday is going to get, cancelled anyway, and you're going to lose a load of money from booking a holiday you can't go on, for that regard, or you'll just get infected. So personally, my dad was saying to me the other day, it's kind of a relief that, annoyingly, we weren't able to find a good Chernobyl holiday type thing recently because of the fact that it would probably end up getting cancelled and we'd be left out of a load of money anyway, by the time June, July comes around. Yeah, I agree, fun with guns. Lots of them are losing massive amounts of money, aren't they, at this point? And that you see pictures of people on a plane and there's 2 other people on it. It's like when you see all these woke films at the cinema and nobody wants to go see them, so people photograph the entire cinema with nobody in it. My name's Liam Brandon. as in Liam, Irish abbreviation of William. Yeah, so there's another Diamond Princess, isn't there? Truth, Love and Honour that's happening at the moment. Also, apologies if I end up mispronouncing things, but I've had a massive one of these tonight. Very nice beer. The bottle should be at the top of the bin. Yeah, there we go. For those of you wondering what it was, it's one of these, like the kind of caramel flavoured ones, but like a 4-unit beer. So there we go. What do I do for a living, both YouTube and working a job at the weekends? I'm wondering when I'm at work this weekend, is it going to be quiet, and is this potentially going to be the last weekend I'm in for ages? Just because I reckon soon they might be saying, look, we just can't stay open due to the infection risk. Yeah, I saw the video of the helicopter hovering over the deck, and again, the people weren't even restricted to their cabins, were they? They were just all mingling together to go, oh, let's take pictures of the helicopter. All right, Richard? The beer is nice, but as you can see, it's a pretty dark one, but yeah, nice. That'd be a good place to store nuclear waste, but in reality, the best way of storing nuclear waste is just digging a massive pit and just dumping it in the bottom of a pit, because due to inverse square law, the radiation doesn't get out. Yeah, I was a bit pessimistic on the Dr. John Campbell video where he was literally just saying, you know, I've come to the conclusion that I'm going to get it. That's kind of a scary thing to think, isn't it? That if literally everybody in the country is pretty much knows they're going to get it at this stage, what the real fatality rate is going to be. Thank you very much, Fun with Guns. I appreciate it. Oh, and don't forget to like the stream, everybody, because it says there's currently 258 people on and 44 likes. Chernobyl technically probably has less radiation than I deal with daily, just because I like playing with radioactive items. So, funnily enough, unless you go into the Pripyat hospital basement, or the underneath the number 4 reactor where the elephant's foot is, most of Chernobyl is technically safer than the kind of radiation levels I play around with. That should tell you something worrying, shouldn't it? But cool, Brandon. Yeah, I'll probably have a beer as well. I might stream after work tomorrow. I normally don't Saturdays, but I'm kind of tempted to at the moment because so many people are watching these streams. Yeah, let's check that other COVID tracker map, although it's not always up to date, but let's have a look at the countries. Yeah, Argentina, Chile, Brazil have it, and Ecuador, and one of the little islands on there, which was Dominican Republic, and Mexico have it. So yeah, a chunk of South America has it. Quite a few African countries. Oh, it's confirmed in South Africa now. So South Africa, Nigeria, Senegal, Morocco, Algeria, and Egypt all have it on the African continent. And then in Europe, there's not many countries left at the moment in Europe that don't have confirmed cases. I don't think this map's got Serbia on there, but I'm pretty sure Serbia was confirmed as well. So, yeah, I don't think there's barely anybody left without it in Europe, at least one case. But I'd be pretty certain at this point now that there's probably, you know, cases in every single country in the world. Oh, thank you very much, Shepard. He said, hey, man, everything is fine in London. Or in my respirator when I take the bus. Good man. I work in wholesale warehouse, so easy access to long-term food. That's good. Hope you're all sorted and safe. But yeah, there's more and more pictures, isn't there, of just people on public transport everywhere wearing some sort of mask. But remember, if you want a mask, it might be too late to get them soon, just because the UK government is supposedly requisitioning stock from even the retailers that get them in. Because again, governments were saying masks are useless, don't buy them, and now they're saying masks are useless, don't buy them, but we need them. Yeah, like what we were saying all along again, that masks do work as long as you follow proper protocols with them, because again, it's a barrier between you and a virus or bacteria. Just like a barrier between you and nuclear fallout, barrier between you and chemical weapons, but again, I don't know what to believe with this in all honesty, because I don't know if we'll ever know, and as I said, like with nuclear war, it doesn't really matter, does it, what you believe, because we're a bit fucked regardless, but, you know, in all reality, we've got to deal with it now. Funmagun said, I am very thankful for you and your channel. I'm very glad I learned from you and got my stuff early on before all this started getting crazy and people want to panic buy. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. But yeah, I'm not even a prepper. This is the thing. It's just because I have this weird autistic interest of old NBC warfare gear, I kind of understand what a mask can and can't do. And then you're like, Well, this does not add up when a government says masks don't protect you, but we want them ourselves. So you could have seen this coming, but I mean, sadly, I don't think a lot of people did because they didn't have experience with it. Chris, thank you very much for the £10 donation. He said, thanks for all you do. You may have saved a fair few lives, been watching for years, and got my FM12 after your recommendation, so glad I have it now. Yeah, stay safe, thank you very much. But yeah, anybody with a mask should be thankful. I'm just going to have a look on eBay, just because I'm interested. Are there any masks still on eBay you can actually get? Because eBay is actually apparently banning the sale now of hand sanitizer and masks just because of all the people profiteering off of it. Right, there's still some CM4s in stock on eBay, still some GP5s, still some Bulgarian PG1s, Polish MP4s. So yeah, there are still gas masks on eBay. So for anybody looking for masks, I'd say at this point, buying old surplus stock on eBay is your best bet. Just because masks like that are still going in like the £10 to £20 region, whereas, you know, like hardware stores are selling these types of masks for like £40 now, and then the stock's getting requisitioned by the government. So yeah, FP5s are good to get, but a lot of them are very overpriced at the moment. But again, that might just be because the stock's drying up. I know Polish viewers told me like a month ago on allegro.pl, which is like a Polish kind of site you can buy and sell loads of stuff. Generally, there's loads and loads and loads of all the Polish Cold War stuff on there, and at the moment it's just selling out because of the massive demand there is for it. I'd say, Brandon, at the moment, wear it regardless of what people think, because of course your health is more important than people saying, oh, don't you look weird for wearing a mask. Yeah, I am literally going to recommend this to people. If you can get an old Soviet or Warsaw Pact mask, even if it comes with an asbestos filter, I know this might sound strange coming from me, but, you know, if you buy an old Soviet mask, even if it comes with a dodgy filter, and that's for a decent all-round price, I would still use that at the moment if you're going out and about. Just because I think it's the lesser of two evils, especially when, like, buying decent filters are now going up to, like, £40 to £50 a filter. Yeah, and eBay's blocking people from selling a lot of this stuff because apparently it's profiteering, but let's have a look. How much money do you think this drawer just down here is worth? 1 filter, 2 filter, 3 filter, 4 filter, 5 filter, 6 filter, 7 filter, 8 filter. Again, I'm not going to sell them and profiteer because I'm not a dickhead, but, you know, it does make you think, doesn't it, that if you actually have a stockpile of all this stuff, you could be making serious money right now. As much as they're going, no, don't sell it, that's unfair, why did you buy it early? That's sort of the outlook lots of people have, is how dare anybody have bought this stuff in advance. Right, let me read the super chat I just missed, because Sniper Sight said, any recovered being interviewed by the media yet? I don't actually know. I've seen a few people being interviewed that have it or currently have it, and they've talked about all like the horrible pains and aches and all that they've had with it, and some of it sounds really grim. But I don't know if anybody who's really recovered has been interviewed. That is a good point, and that's not even the conspiracy thing where I say that. I do think you've got a point because of all the people who apparently get reinfected or are just really ill. Thank you, Joe. He said, when do you think panic buying will happen in the UK badly? Well, it's already started, so any time from now. Also, when do you think lockdown will happen in the UK? I think as soon, let's say a week or so in the UK, where the numbers start exploding, because bear in mind we've got like a 2-week lag on this whole thing because of when people catch it and feel fine, but they're not fine. I think there's also going to be a very grim wake-up call when people realise kids are actually going to die from this. Because you've seen lots of people saying, oh, but the Chinese figures say kids don't die. Yet you see the leaked videos coming out of China, which, of course, I can't verify if all of them are real, but there are dead kids in those videos. And when you see those, I am personally more of the belief it will fucking kill you, regardless, because it's a pretty serious disease. Any NBC filter after it's expired, as still as it's all still in good condition, yes, it will work because you need the particulate filter for viruses and bacteria, not the charcoal bit. At the moment, I'd say $80 for an M15 is a good price just because of how expensive they are at the moment. Yeah, riot shields are good. I've got 2 riot shields and a ballistic shield in this room. But what type of riot shield have you got? My favourite ones, actually, are the round riot shields. Let me just move this box out of the way, because I've precariously stacked this box. It's getting a bit annoying. But as much as people are saying, oh, round riot shields are stupid, knocking more stuff over there. Round riot shields are actually a lot more practical just because you can move them around quickly, whereas the big riot shields are really a pain in the ass to move unless you're in formation. Oh, thank you again, Shepard. I got the P3 respirator good with glasses. Which particular one did you get? But yeah, half face mask you can wear with glasses and then goggles on top of the glasses, which works really well. But yeah, for anybody who might still want to get a riot shield, personally, if you're getting it for yourself or just members of your family, go for the round ones, because the big ones are designed a lot more for use in formation, which a lot of people don't seem to get. They're like, oh, big ones cover more of your body, therefore they're better. It's like, well, there's pros and cons to each one, like with any kind of body armor or whatever. Right, Kung Flu U. I don't own anything that's illegal in the UK. Let's put it like that to begin with. But do I own things that could cause a lot of pain to people who want to wish me harm? Yes. We won't go into it more than that though on the stream. All of it's perfectly legal to own. But, it's probably best because of the UK's weird laws. I don't particularly talk about stuff I can use to, dismember people. But if you've watched the videos long enough and seen all the crossbows and everything else, you get an idea of what would happen if somebody was hit with one of those. Education said, is the Furnez Fred standard or the filters are the same size? It's 40mm NATO, the Furnez, as in like the MSA one. That's the Polish Furnez, and it has a couple of different names, but it's 40mm NATO, so you'll have no issue getting filters for that. Quite a few of them are shipped with a filter anyway. Thank you again, Shepard. Oh, what, the MSA, not the MSA one, sorry. The JSP one, the Force 8. That one. Yeah, that is a good mask, as I said before with me. In all honesty, as much as I like gas masks, I think in all honesty, if I need to go out and about soon wearing a mask, I would use a half-face respirator with the goggles, just because I can do that and still, like drive and see registration plates and all that sort of thing. So yeah, for me, these are a lot more practical like this because I can at least use them with my glasses. No, X-Firefox, it doesn't really smell of anything like that. I think because all the masks generally have a slightly different smell, you don't really notice it. If you're a guest in the house, you might notice a weird smell. But no, I never notice any weird gas mask smells. I would trust the Chinese doctors more, not the Chinese state media, OG Zombie, but the Chinese doctors who have been dealing with this shit for a while. I'd trust them a lot more than like the CDC and any of those groups, because generally the people on the front lines have the best idea of what's going on. Thank you again, Chris. Also, a big thank you to everybody. I hit, was it 76k subs the other day? Let me have a look. But yeah, my subs have been going crazy recently due to all this. Yeah, 76,000 subs, nearly 76,100. Ono says, why do those respirators have 2 filters? Wouldn't it be more efficient to have just one? 2 smaller filters give you better airflow, and it evenly distributes the weight on each side of the mask. One big filter generally has less airflow, but the filter lasts longer. Also more weight in one place. For military masks, I'm generally more of a fan of one big filter, either on a hose or on one side of the mask. Generally the side you don't cheek weld with to shoot, because obviously if you're aiming and shooting with a gun, I've actually got a rifle there I could demonstrate that with, but YouTube rules saying I can't hold that up and show it on the stream anymore. But in general, with masks, the reason the filters are always on the left cheek is because that's where most shooters are right eye dominant, right-handed. You're going to be doing that rather than Doesn't surprise me, Spoon. I've seen some people buying those bloody airsoft masks, you know, that are just literally a plastic shell designed to stop BBs. Bree says, my M9A1 US gas mask carry satchel smells like acrylic paint even after a while. Was it just because it stayed for so long in a metal box? I imagine so. My ammo cans always have a bit of an acrylic kind of paint strippery smell to them, so it's probably just that. When you say how long do P3 filters hold, do you mean last, Shepherd? If so, months, unless you're using them in constant smog and smoke. They only really run out when they clog and you can't breathe through them anymore. If your French M51, like any old mask, is in good enough condition, the mask still works and isn't falling apart, yes, it still works fine. There's apparently 2 strains at this point, but again, I haven't seen enough things verify that. But it wouldn't surprise me at all, you know, just because of the mortality rate differing in different places in the world, more than you could really put down to medical care. Right, there's a couple of choices. You could get some of those cheap vented chemical goggles and then put duct tape around them. My favourite thing is snowboarding goggles like these, because they go over glasses absolutely fine. Again, you might want to put duct tape over the foam to make them airtight. But, you know, these sort of goggles work fine with half-face masks. I don't know how useful a radio would be. I've got a kind of a military-style radio, but I've never really been into, like, any ham radio type stuff, so I'm not trained to use it or anything. Yeah, thanks, Mike. Don't forget to like the stream, everybody, because YouTube shares them more, the more people that like them. Yeah, swimming goggles would work fine. But the thing I like about these is I can just wear my regular glasses underneath them. Yeah, M17s would work absolutely fine, because M17s at least have particle filters in them. So even though I'm not a fan of cheek filters, if you've got cheek filters and want to use them, you know, by all means. Maybe Chinese Communist Party agents, Vladimir. They're annoyed I'm making anything of this nothing burger. I wouldn't be scared, Connor, but I'd take all the precautions necessary, as in, if you think you may have it, apply to be tested, isolate yourself from other people. Especially don't come into contact with people who may be vulnerable to it more than others. I don't really play bingo, but what does it look like? I don't know. All FP5 filters are metal. How do you mean looks different? Because with FP5 filters, you obviously get the black standard FP5 filters, but then you get things like FP211 filters, which have a similar kind of shell to them, but they're just silver rather than black, if that's sort of what you mean. Right, glad you like the FM12, Nigel. Well, I hope you like it, but the FM12 is a bloody good mask. I keep one in my car boot all the time. So yeah, for those of you that didn't see, supposedly eBay is temporarily banning the sale or like listing of new gas mask sanitizer and all that because of people buying them. Apparently some kind of responsible stores in the UK now are doing the thing where if you go in to buy hand sanitizer, you can only buy like 1 or 2 lots per person. But some of them weren't doing that, so they're just quite happy to let a single person buy out their entire stock. Yeah, I think everybody agrees on that, Bart, who's been following that most governments have been downplaying it because, it will hurt the economy. Where we all know, it's going to get bad. Being reactive, but being proactive is better than being reactive on it. A size 3, assuming a size 2 isn't like really, really, really tight, then the size 3 will be fine. Obviously, if the size 2 is so tight you can't get on there, maybe you're on the size 4. Biohazard, I would show them the videos coming out of places it's hitting really hard, and then if they don't take it seriously, they're kind of wanting to win a Darwin Award. Yeah, that's generally because if you Google most masks, James, if I've done a YouTube video on them, the Google results kind of bring back the YouTube results as well. Yeah, thank you, Andor. Don't forget to like the video, everybody, because currently there's more than twice the number of people watching than have liked. And YouTube likes to demonetize these videos as well, because how dare I talk about coronavirus? Because I'm not saying it's a nothing burger, it's fine. FFP-free masks are certainly better than nothing because they're particle rating free, which is the exact rating you want. You just want it on a good mask. Thank you, Deadly Mexican Taco. He said, how long can filters last in public? Reusable FP5. If you mean against particle protection, what you want from Corona, literally months, because again, it's just the filters clog eventually due to lots of dust getting in them and things like that. Well, that's good to know, Fun with Guns. I don't know what magic this is, but ever since I've been doing these streams recently, I have women trying to chat me up, which I don't mind. But, you know, it's come a bit out of nowhere. Right, for all the people asking about different masks, as long as you can put a P3, P100 rated filter on it, it doesn't matter. They're not designed to break, but with most filters, you're going to have no way of opening them and resealing them properly without like welding them back together, because most of them are just like a metal shell essentially that you you know, like a welded shut in the factory. I don't know of the trend P3R, but let me Google it. Violet Skydiver. That's that stealth one. That'll be absolutely fine. If it's P3 rated, it's going to have all the protection you need. Yes, Res, it's sufficient protection because it's, again, the best particle protection you can get, and it's better than a lot of the stuff they're issuing to doctors and like security people at the moment. So that gives you a good clue if it's going to work or not. Thank you again, Maxi Boy, because you've donated before. Come to Waitrose and Montage, and I can get you some free toilet roll, canned goods, etc. Right, thank you. We've got enough stuff in our house because we've been sort of thinking, it might get bad for a while, and we don't generally, you know, like we always make sure we've got stuff in the house anyway, just in case nobody can be bothered to go shopping or we're busy one week. But yeah, I think a lot of people have left it too late. Let me Google it, lifted Buddha. CFF free filter. Are those Italian ones or French ones? It looks like it does have a particle layer, because looking at it, it looks like your standard NBC filter, where you've got your charcoal layer at the back here and your particulate layer in the front here. So I'm assuming it's going to be like one of these. Charcoal here, impregnated charcoal, particle bit here. So yeah, looks exactly like it would be fine for that. I know that's the one that's, is it Sportsman Guide had a load in for cheap recently? Yeah, Israeli filters are good. I've not ever tried the newer Israeli filters, but the older Type 80 or M80 filters, the ones that came in like green, brown, and was it beige? The colours of metal they did them in, they're very good. Thank you, Kevin. He said, sorry if it's a dumb question. If a filter becomes clogged after use, does it no longer protect you, or is it just more difficult to breathe? It's just more difficult to breathe. At least for particle protection, it never stops working. It just becomes harder and harder to breathe through it. It's with vapor, as in filters for gas, that you run into problems, because that's when you just start basically getting gases go through the filter, because the charcoal is fully saturated at that point. But with particle filters, you can carry on using them. It just means that you have to breathe harder and harder to get air through them. So with particle filters, you've kind of got an advance warning when they're going to run out, because you're going, oh, they're getting difficult to breathe through. I should think about replacing that, rather than you just suddenly going, oh, wait, I can smell odors coming through the filter. I'm doomed. If you wanted to spray paint a filter, I don't see any reason why you couldn't. Thank you, Daniel. Right, I've got a 3D printed GOST adapter in the post. I don't know how long it's going to be until it turns up. Lots of people really into gas masks have said no, they're not good because they're not made from CBRN certified plastics and all that. if you just simply wanted to get a NATO filter onto a GOST mask, I'm sure they'd be fine for that. Because again, it depends what use you want to get out of a mask. But for most people's applications, I think they'd be fine as long as they're made well enough. And thank you as well, Dwarven Miner. He says, scary how many people here in the UK don't know they need eye protection. Quote from my work, I'm just waiting for the government to tell me what to do. Yep. Like we've been saying all along, I guess from like 2 months ago, I would personally have gone off for what the Chinese doctors were saying initially who were getting infected with it, that you do need eye protection. On the first corona video I did, at that point I said you definitely need like mouth and nose protection. Eye protection is debatable at this point because there were conflicting reports. Like a week later, we all knew for sure you needed eye protection. But with stuff like this, I would always say be more more protected than you need to be, even if it's slightly inconvenient, rather than less protected. If you're more protected, it means you might have spent a bit longer taking on and off the gear, spent a bit more on it, but at least you're protected. If you're not protected well enough, you could potentially get something that's going to kill you or other people. But personally, Dust Devil, I would always want to go for something better than N95, just because it's the minimum one that will work. I would rather go for something better personally, because that's always been my attitude of P1, P2, and P3 filters. Is prior to all this happening in the UK, it was always only ever so slightly more expensive to buy a P3 rather than the P1 filter, as in like 20, 50 pence more. So my logic is, why would you go for the thing that doesn't give you anywhere near as much protection when there's so little different amount of money in it? Yeah, as I was saying, that's the attitude I take. Dust Devil, it's you can get stuff that's good enough, and if that's the only thing you can find, so be it. But in general, if you're thinking I'm going to buy filters, you might as well just go for the best thing possible, especially if the price margins are so slim between different levels of protection. Thank you, Mitchell. He said another cruise ship infected the US. Is this the one off the coast of Florida? Florida. It was another princess ship, wasn't it? It wasn't the Diamond Princess this time, but it was another one. Is it on the other list? The Grand Princess. Yeah, the Grand Princess. So don't get on cruise ships with the name Princess, I'd imagine. Not very good for you. Schmitty said, damn, no notification today. What's new, buddy? Thank you very much for the donation. As of what's going on, panic buying in the UK, another death in the UK, the biggest rise in cases in the UK since it started so far. But again, you're going to keep seeing that because with a virus, day after day, generally the jumps get bigger, or you might be lucky and get a day where there's not as many cases. But in general, the trend is always upwards. Italy had a massive amount of deaths as well today. Larry says, hey, do SP3 filters have the same effect as just P3? Let me have a look at them, because I've not really heard of SP3. Unless I'm just being stupid and I can't think what it is. The 3M ones coming up that I'm looking at the moment would definitely be P3 rated. I don't know why they've got a different name, but they look to me just to be like P3 ones. Are they ones with something out in there? Because it just says HE particulate on these, which is high efficiency particulate. Right, I don't know what the difference is between those and the regular P3, but they're certainly at least to the P3 level. Thank you, Caroline. I don't know, but I'm very flattered. Thank you. I was saying earlier in the stream, it's a bit strange since I've been doing these. I've got a lot of women trying to chat me up. Not that I mind, it's very nice, but yeah, I'm hoping everybody's prepared because I think quite soon it's going to get quite bad here. Just because, the more and more cases you're seeing. Well, as I've been saying, Lee, luckily I don't have to use public transport, so I've not needed to. If it gets to the stage where I have to start going out for supplies and it gets really bad, I will certainly be wearing a mask and all that sort of gear. But at the moment, no, because when I volunteer and do my job at the weekends, I drive there in my car. And when I'm in my car, I can set the air to recirculate if I want. No, it's because if it's just a P3 only filter, that doesn't have vapor protection. Perfumes would be a vapor, not a particulate. So you'd want something like an A2 P3 filter to block perfumes. I'm sure your P3 filter's fine. It's just that's how they work. It's why, again, like ABEC 2 P3 is the best filter to get if you don't know what the threat's going to be. I'm not falling for you, Corona Chan Alman 556. It depends how strong they are. Technically, you want antimicrobial, because antimicrobial means they work against both bacteria and viruses. Antibacterial technically means just bacteria, but a lot of antibacterial, like sprays and cloths and that will kill viruses, but technically they're not rated to do it. Favorite 40mm NATO full face mask, Avon CT12. But otherwise, at the moment, I've got the Spaziani TR2002 in my car boot and a couple of half face masks. Shepherd, thank you very much again. Anywhere to get P3 filters that don't cost £30+? 40mm ones, or ones for a specific mask? Screwfix sometimes have filters in. Let's see what they've got on their site at the moment. But again, they're running out of a lot of this stuff. Screwfix at least haven't been putting up the prices of their masks to a stupid degree. JSP filters at $8.99 on Screwfix. That'll link them, but they've not got any available for delivery again. So I don't know how helpful this is going to be, but they've got the listing there. Yeah, so the JSP ones are $8.99 there. Let me just Google JSP filters and see if any come up anywhere. Right, this one says available for delivery. I've never used this site before. All right, the link is too long. This is annoying. Okay, if you go on travisperkins.co.uk, let me just see if I can shorten the URL down and if it still works. No, it doesn't. That's annoying. Anyway, if you go on travisperkins.co.uk, they've got some apparently in stock on here. Or in Swindon in the UK, that's not good, Maxi Boy, but thank you again for the donation. There's been 2 in Oxford, which is in my area, but they've refused to say why. But one of the local doctor's surgeries closed for a deep clean, which makes me a bit worried. Well, I mean, it's inevitably going to happen in your area, but you'd rather it be later rather than sooner. My UV bulb, there's a UVB reptile one here. This one at least doesn't burn your skin. You can get... Oop, did I knock that off then? There we go, yeah. You can get UVC ones on Amazon, but they burn the skin and eyes. But if you want to get cheap UV bulbs, look for reptile UV bulbs, because they're sold for, reptile kind of enclosures, terrariums, but... you wouldn't need to decontaminate until you take all the stuff off if you're wearing a full gas mask, but rubbing alcohol is a good suggestion. That's a good thing, Wendy, actually. Good suggestion, yeah. Wet newspaper till it becomes a bit soggy and then you can use it to wipe your butt. But yeah, thanks, that's a good suggestion. Other people have been saying use flannels and then just clean them afterwards. That's a good idea, that's what they always used to do. That's a good point, Armed ASMR, but I suppose if you buy a few, you can last out a few months of them, can't you, for like £5 to £10 each? It depends how much hair you've got, Ghostly, but in general, a GP5 goes from here to here. Let me show you how it covers your hair. Because I've got, obviously, the GP5M here. Let's chuck a filter on him. Is this an FP6 or an FP5? This is an FP6, so I don't think it's going to thread on properly, is it? Actually, that would just do for demonstrating it. So you should have the GP5 on your chin like this, and then you'll get a bit of hair coming down the back. You don't need to shave your hair so totally. But yeah, it should be this general sort of shape on your head, in that kind of like, you know, oval shape like that. Hopefully that's somewhat helpful. Yeah, I think everybody hasn't quite clued on yet to the fact rubbing alcohol works, so it's not sold out everywhere like sanitizers have at this point. If it's a filter where you can see the particle bit, no, because it will damage it. If it's got a plastic or metal casing around it, then that should be fine, because you're just obviously going to sterilize the outside of the filter like that. Thank you very much, Stephen. He says, your opinions on the 3M full face 7800B respirator. We have several bought a year ago with FRP. Right, those filters will certainly be good enough. Let me search the mask. 3M full face 78,000. Yeah, that'll be completely fine. Most of the ones coming up are the... Oh yeah, that'll be absolutely fine. Yeah, I've just seen that. That's like almost like a proper military spec looking one. Yeah, that'll work absolutely fine. So yeah, as long as you've got the filters for them, yeah, you'll be good. That's a lot better than you'd need, really. So, right, cheers, Stephen. I appreciate the donation, but yeah, that'll be absolutely fine. The thing is, I've been saying to a lot of people is as long as the masks fully cover, you know, your nose and mouth, and then you wear separate goggles or their full face masks. As long as you can get a P3, P100 rated filter for it, really. I know that you can probably use lower grade filters, but I wouldn't recommend it. And they make a good seal to your face, and the masks are in good condition. Will be absolutely fine. I have to watch that. I like big clothes videos, but you can mix. A lot of people were saying, can't you aloe vera with like rubbing alcohol that way? And there's a few other chemicals you can use. Thank you, Aaron. Let me check on eBay if there's something that's still in stock, because it's not technically called hand sanitizer. Right, there's some stuff for people in the UK that's not gone up horribly in price at the moment. So I'm just going to link it in a second. Annoyingly, the foam one that's ideal for hands isn't in, but this will certainly kill viruses because we have to use it at the Blue Cross. And that's not gone up stupidly yet. So if you sprayed that on your hands, it would work the same way as rubbing alcohol or hand gel. Yeah, it also means you get more for your money, doesn't it, if you dilute 99% alcohol to 70%. Like, I've got that 5 litre 99% one back there. So again, put, you know, like 3/4 or so of it in a bottle, put the rest with water in. There you go, you've got 70-odd%. Yeah, 70% isopropyl alcohol, however it's pronounced, rubbing alcohol is good enough. It's happening. It's happening. This is the future you chose. Will an old M9 filter still work? I would very much advise against old M9 filters just because of the high asbestos content of them. M9 filters literally have all the stuff in you don't want to inhale. No military history, I would not advise you do that. All right, hopefully they dispatch and everything, Shepard, but I just saw that they actually showed them as in stock on there. Yeah, some household kitchen things core certainly will work well enough. There's lots of stuff you'll probably find in the kitchen cupboard if you've got a lot of different chemicals in there that would work well enough. I think quite a few people were saying things like white spirit and all that would work as well. So there's probably quite a lot of like cleaners, disinfectants, fuels people might have around the house that would work. Right, somebody's spamming the chat, so let's get rid of him. I have to look what's into the margin. I know what you mean by training elevation masks. They're the ones that are designed to build up your lung capacity, aren't they? Right. By the look of it, most of these will work because a lot of these look to be the exact same thing as particulate respirators, as in, they just add breathing resistance. So most of the ones coming out are the same things. Let me just see if any of the cycle masks are still in stock anywhere, because they will work. Pollution mask. Right, if you go on eBay or somewhere and type in pollution masks, a lot of them are still in the £5 to £10 region. Now, bear in mind, some of them are really shit designs that are barely going to work. But if you're wanting to find masks that haven't been massively upflated yet, pollution masks are like £5 to £10. And again, that's just like a particulate respirator that covers this bit of the face, like an N95 mask. They've just got a different name, so they've not been up-priced yet. You can try and link your group Aussie Prepper, but I think the problem is if you try and link it, it won't just let you do it. Not me not letting you, but just YouTube will, if you put a URL in, it's just going to memory hole your comment. I'll be on another 15 minutes, and then at 9 PM I'll go off, because that's when Mike will be on, I assume. Well, an FM12 a while ago should have been anywhere between £30 and probably £100. Now they're going to be a lot more than that because there's such a big demand for them. UK cases, unless it's gone up since I last looked, 160 odd. Let's have a look. And 2 deaths. UK 164 cases and 2 deaths, assuming that's still the same number. Yeah. But again, I think it's about 2 PM each day. 2 to 3 PM is when the UK does its updated figures. So you can probably imagine tomorrow is going to be another 40 plus cases and maybe a death or 2. 4A1s before this, $30 to $50 or pounds. Again, it depended if there was any in stock anywhere, because 4A1s seem to always be a bit inflated in price recently. That's a good idea, Vladimir, actually using them on circuits to see which bit does. You can use some types of rubbing alcohol, can't you, as well, to make cloud chambers to see radiation. I mean, I've got a flare, so I could always use that to look at the board anyway. But yeah, if you were just literally going to get something, rubbing alcohol would be a cheap way of doing it. Yeah, ponchos and all that would be a good alternative to NBC suits, especially against bacteria and viruses, because they're not going to eat into the material. It's on the expensive side, Victoria, but if that's all you can get, then it's worth it. If is your life worth that? Yes. Under ideal circumstances, would I pay that? No. But it's just one of those things at the moment. If you need to get a mask, then that's available. But saying that, if you've got £70, I would say buy a few Czech CM4s or Czech CM3s, because a lot of these on eBay at the moment are still like £20 or dollars each, and for that price, you'd be much better to get 4 of these than one, 4A1. So you could get one for each of your family members or whatever. I would say yes, using an asbestos GP5 filter is still a lot less harmful than catching this, because we still don't know down the road if this is going to cause like massive lung problems, even if you survive it. Because I don't think these people ever think to. One of my Swedish viewers was telling me, at least in Sweden, they're being intelligent, and the Swedish military or whatever said, "Oh wait, we've got loads of these old military masks laying around, so should we just give them to medics and then they can disinfect them?" That's a lot more practical, isn't it? Sven, give them the skid mask 90. that's a lot more practical than actually just going, oh no, keep buying loads and loads and loads of N95s. Oh, you're building a cloud chamber. That's cool, Chris. How are you doing it? Are you using it with like metal plate type things to make the temperature really different, or using dry ice or whatever? I've never built a cloud chamber, but I find them really cool. Again, no, Han, I'd say is your health and your family's health more important? Because I personally would not care if somebody would ridicule me if it would keep me or my family alive. They're expecting Beast or quite soon at the UK is going to start encouraging people to work from home. They've not really done it yet, but they keep saying, "Oh, we might do it." Rubbing alcohol in a spray bottle works quite well, Nicolay. If you take all the stuff off, you can also put it straight into the washing machine on high heat. Well, expired masks, if they're properly expired and falling apart, obviously they're not going to protect you. But if they're just old and not really fit for military service, at the moment they're still in good condition, they're going to work fine. If they're cheap and people have Finnish M61s or similar Victoria, very good thing to buy. Thanks, Mike. I was just going to get him, but you got him first. I've already said gaming melon because they haven't really thought of it. The Swedish government is doing that because they're sensible. Yugoslavian M1s have a habit of melting, but if you've already got one, it's worth using. Not on modern mask spoofing. On some really old masks, I wouldn't use it, but on things like S10s, FM12s, like these Scott M110s, M95s, all the things like that, it'll be absolutely fine. Yeah, I mean, very high percentage alcohol, exquisite llama. Not like what I'm drinking now, sadly. But yeah, in terms of 70% rubbing alcohol plus, that will kill it. How many filters? Probably at least 3 to be safe. That way you can just swap filters if you need to disinfect one or one gets damaged. It depends what's in the filter, Stormtrooper, because you get lots of different types of filters, but assuming it's a perfectly preserved NBC filter, then yes, it will still work. I've had a couple of items come out of China and some still not, so I don't know. It probably depends which region of China they're in. Weapon collector who's in the chat, Simon, is the person I'm referring to when I say Mike. There's his comment there. Look, weapon collector. Click on his channel and he'll probably be streaming about 9 p.m. Generally, with rubbing alcohol, I think it's distilled water, isn't it? But I'm sure regular tap water would work absolutely fine as long as it's diluted. What's the petition? You keep saying sign a petition, but you're not saying what it is. Every time somebody says that, I keep thinking of Postal 2. Won't you sign a petition? Or whatever it is, and you piss on people and kick them and set them on fire. Has there been any more of Postal 3 come out since they did the original early access thing? I've not actually looked. Leave it under UV light, Jimmy Fingers, or just don't touch the outside of it. Yeah, as I've been saying to people, Shot Zombie, although a lot of people have been doubting me, get an old pillowcase, cut the pillowcase up into several strips, and then turn that into a mask. I've not got an On90, but it looks like an S10 ripoff, and the S10's good, so it might be alright, just because it's a ripoff of the S10. Postal 4 even, yeah? Postal 4. Postal 3 actually I've not played. I've played Postal 2 and then Postal 4 is in early access at the moment. But it's not fully out, is it? So I don't think we can really say if it's bad or not. But we're going very off topic of talking about coronavirus. Oh, according to Cause, Poundland has good goggles, so go buy them now before somebody works it out and then sells them for £10 to £100 each on eBay. I hope you're doing all right, Pest Doctor, then, because I know it's not a good situation in Italy at the moment, but it's just going to be where the UK is a couple of weeks ahead, I think. I already answered you on the OM90, bad boy. I said it's probably all right, but I've never used one. Yeah, exactly, Shot Zombie. This is the thing I've been saying to people, is you don't really need to worry about full CBRN protection where chemicals eat through the rubbers and plastics. It's more just keeping the shit out of your body and observing good hygiene. And then, just not mixing in crowds as much as you can. Right, I'll be on your stream in a couple of minutes, Mike. Yeah, hopefully a lot of them will be resold by people who don't want them, Larry, for like, £5 to £10 or dollars each. But yeah, British Empire, anybody that donates, if they give a Discord ID, can get on. Thank you, Kyle. He said, how likely is a virus like this to get into cuts? I don't know of cuts, actually, of this. It definitely gets in through the respiratory tract and tear ducts, but I don't know if it can get in via cuts. But I will be going off in a minute. I don't normally stream Saturdays because I'm working most of Saturday, but I might stream tomorrow evening if I get spare time, but it might just be like a 20 or 30-minute stream. I mean, hazmat suits, our BAS make it, or our base make it easier to decontaminate, but you only really need respiratory and eye protection from COVID coronavirus. Israeli Type 80 or M80 filters are P3, yes, so they're good enough. Yeah, Kyle, post your Discord ID, and I'll invite you, and then I'll be finishing the stream in a minute. Thank you very much, Jams. He said, what kind of UV light would you recommend? UVB. UVA might not be strong enough. UVC is certainly strong enough, but it also burns your eyes and skin. So, oh yeah, you did donate as well, Schmitty, so let me add you. So yeah, I'd say always go for UVB as long as it's of a decent wattage, just because it's gonna work to a decent extent and not burn your eyes out. It doesn't like your name, Schmitty Vids. Do you have a capitalization in there somewhere? Right, let me add you, Kyle. For the people wanting to know about Discord IDs, look at the bottom left of Discord and it will give you your ID. Thank you again, Maxi Boy. The Discord's for people that have been donated. So it's Schmitty Vids with a capital. Right, let me copy and paste it back in and change it to capitals. And then I'll be off in a moment. Because Weapon Collector's stream is starting in literally like 2 minutes. So I want to be on for that. It still doesn't like it even with the capitals. Can you just recopy and paste it, please, before I go off? I'll try to, Caroline. I'll be, if I'm on, it'll be about 8 PM again, but probably just 30 minutes to an hour. The best eye goggles are probably swimming goggles, but if you want to wear glasses under them, you're going to need to get ski goggles and whatever and just put duct tape around the outside. That doesn't surprise me, Dust Devil, because they're different brands. Alright, thank you, Schmitty. Let me try that again. There you go, it worked that time, even though it looked exactly the same to me as how I changed it before. Anyway, I'll be going off. A big thank you to everybody that's donated. Don't forget to like the stream as well as you go off, because YouTube doesn't like sharing these because I'm not the World Health Organization. And I'm going to be on Weapon Collector's stream that's literally starting in like a minute. So yeah, see everybody. Goodbye.